It is hot in Missouri today, let me tell you. It's pretty warm. Today I got a video for y'all. Missed the last couple days. Tried to film a few different ones, but having technical difficulties. But today's video is gonna be about, is the Genesis Coupe worth buying in 2024? These cars started being manufactured in 2009 all the way up to 2016. They stopped making these bad boys. But this model here is a 2014. So as of now, this car is 10 years old. They didn't sell a whole lot of these, and other countries, I'm not quite sure, but they actually didn't sell a whole lot of these, which is probably why they discontinued back in 2016. But today I wanted to talk about if the Genesis Coupe was still worth buying. So I'm gonna go over a few things with you guys today. This car specifically, the 2014 3.8, has a total of 348 horsepower out of the box. It has about 295 pound-feet of torque, which is pretty powerful for a car like this, especially if you're in the market for this type of car. Definitely a pretty powerful car. Actually, it beats a V6 Challenger and a V6 Mustang, which is kind of interesting. So if you want to beat a muscle car, this car could do it. So engine wise, it's about the same, maybe a little slower than the V6 4-cylinder Camaro. Rear wheel drive, which obviously you're gonna want with a car like this. It's almost a must have. You need rear wheel. You can do all kinds of fun stuff in this. You do your burnouts and donuts and everything, whatever you desire. A lot of these cars, just in general, cars like this, people enjoy the rear wheel drive. It's got pretty good power. If you're looking to get mods done, especially to your engine, like if you want to slap a turbo on this thing or get it tuned, I would probably lean more towards the 2.0T models. There's a lot more aftermarket support for that kind of thing. If that's something you're interested in. But yeah, you could put bigger turbos on the 2.0Ts. On these, not really. I see a lot of superchargers on these. We kind of went over some specs. Let's just talk about some features of the car in general. So first of all, I want to point out that the interior for the time, pretty good. You know, you got pretty stiff steering, manual mode. You have the paddle shifters, automatic as well. My car is technically an automatic, but you are able to turn that over to manual mode and drive it in manual. You could shift gears that way, or again, you have the paddle shifters. The seats, I mean, yeah, they're pretty good. You could always adjust them here. Have a little lever in the front there that you could pull to adjust your seat. The gas pedal here is bolted to the floorboard, so that's kind of nice as well. You could rest your foot on there. I'll say one thing that kind of sucks about this car, trunk button is right here. You'd pull this, right? Then you'll go to the back. It opens, but then you still have to lift up the back here. Yeah, you could open it up. It has decent trunk space. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a lot, but for the type of car it is, I would say the trunk space is actually pretty good. Let's just sit in the car here for a second. Another thing about this car is having these gauges here. Although I don't know how accurate they are. I'm sure they're fairly accurate. You got oil temp, you have your torque, and you have your fuel consumption all here. Those are interchangeable, especially in the aftermarket world. You're able to adjust those to whatever you find relevant to your situation. So that's always an option here. Obviously there's a sunroof. You can pull this up and down however you like. So the back seats here, I'll be honest with you, these back seats, man, if I'm gonna have to sit in this thing to show y'all. That's something else I'll mention. To get in and out of this thing, you can adjust that and move that. I already hit my head, but I mean, I'm struggling to get in the back here. And let me turn this around. So I'm about 6 foot. You can't even sit in the seat here without banging your head. You have to kind of sit like that. Or honestly, even if you go to the middle seat here, it's worse. You basically don't have back seats. I can't fit anything back here, even kids. It's just like crammed. I wouldn't say this is a family car. Probably more of a weekend car. Oh God, I gotta get out of here. And I'm skinny too. I'm not a big buff guy by any means. So getting in and out of there is tough for me. Just imagine somebody who's maybe a bit bigger than me. Good luck, bud. You're cooked. You're not getting in and out of here. The next thing I want to mention that is kind of a really crappy thing that I wish I knew about before buying this car was honestly the speakers. The speakers aren't really that good in this car. I don't really like them. They aren't very loud. There's not a lot of bass to it. Things like that. That's something you'd probably have to upgrade by yourself. But I felt like my speakers weren't always like this, because I felt like for a while they were good, but all of a sudden they just got the speakers are really quiet and they just don't sound right. And also the rattling in this car, I could hear it right now. It never picks up on the camera, and it was rattling like crazy on the way to my location to film. So if loud and obnoxious noises coming from different parts of your car annoys you, then that's something else I would consider. I just don't know off the top of my head. It really also depends on where the rattling comes from. There's a few other things as well. These taillights, these aftermarket taillights, I mean, these cars specifically have really cool aftermarket parts and support, especially 2.0s with engine mods. I think these look pretty good, but there's a ton of different options out there. If you saw my last video, I did have this emblem on, but I did take it off. There's still a little bit of residue I have to get off. Yeah, it was starting to fall off, and this car's getting wrapped here pretty soon anyway. It would have had to been taken off. Getting new ones to replace it. I also took one of the stickers off here, and I might take that one off as well. The exhaust for this car, I'll play a clip. I hooked some stuff up for you guys so you could hear it. The exhaust, even stock, sounds really good, but some people just do as simple as a muffler delete, and this car just explodes. It's probably one of the best sounding V6 exhausts I've ever heard, hands down. It might just be because it's a 3.8, I'm not quite sure. These exhausts sound insane. What I got on is the ISR CATBACK exhaust. I think that exhaust ran me about, I want to say $700 or so. For the $700, it was worth the exhaust. There's people that'll keep the stock tips and just straight pipe it and things like that, and that's really it. There's not a whole lot more I'd say about this car. Great things about this car, but there's also a few negatives. Paint on this car isn't great. Looking for a car you don't need to do any paint work to. At the dealership and be like, yeah, I love this color, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to change it, and you don't want to pay for new paint. That's you. Yeah, maybe this might not be the car for you. Every Genesis Coupe owner has this problem right here. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't put real hood vents in there if they were gonna put those on there. That never really made sense to me. But yeah, the paint just chips on this. I've painted it, done stuff with it, and it just, I don't know why, it just doesn't work. It's not great, especially where these panels meet. I discussed this in my last video, so if there's things you want to look out for that you may not be, that might scare you away from buying this car, I'll put a little time card up there. It's up on the screen. You could click on that. So the paint, it chips quite a bit, especially where these panels meet. You'll see it's like right there, right there. There's all kinds of spots. I could go on and on about showing that, but this car's great, man. I love this car. It's a lot of fun. It has a lot of power. And especially if you're in the market for a car like this is a really good option. If you're a high school student, college student, and you're really into cars, you want something that's pretty quick, but not super, super quick, and you want a sporty feeling car, this is a really great car for you. And again, if there's some things you want to fix on it, there's aftermarket support for it. So it's out there, and you can make it your own. So somebody did leave a comment in my last video about doing a full bolt-on. That's all in the works, but I want to get this channel monetized so I could fund all of that stuff. I'm doing quite a few cosmetic upgrades here soon. I do plan on doing some engine work, possibly a supercharger, things like that in the future. So if y'all want to help me out and get this channel monetized, just leave a like on this video and share it with a friend or something. Yeah, we can get this monetized and I could afford to pay for all of that. If you want to see this channel grow and you guys want to see the progression of this car, it really does help me out. If it's something you want to see, let me know in the comments below. If this video was helpful to you, let me know as well. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.